Well, welcome back to this very special episode of the Mystic in Training podcast with me, Melissa Amos. I have a very special guest with me today. Let me introduce you to Kyle Gray, who has been my longtime teacher. And
Oh,
today feels like a full circle moment for me because it was back in, was it 2017 when
yeah.
Angel Team first began, that I came across this guy, this young Scottish guy who was talking about the angels in a way that I'd never heard anyone speak about before. The angelics had always been something that I felt like I had a connection with or an inspiration with, or they'd send me signs, but the thought of the angels just didn't resonate with me until I joined Angel Team back in the first round in 2017. And that was really when my relationship began to develop. I started to understand them as beings that I could connect to, that were there for me, that were real, that were like me, and that all I needed to do was ask and they would be there. And my sole job, and this was, Kyle, something that you really taught me, was to listen and to be
Mm.
opening and to drop the barriers to me not hearing them. And from there, it's been a journey that, it's nearly 10 years.
Oh, that's scary.
That is scary.
It is.
It is. And since then, Kyle, I have watched you evolve and grow. And this is what I find really refreshing and why I've been in your world so long, because you have released many books. You're a Sunday Times bestseller now. Woo.
Woo.
You have my favorite angel decks, I have to say.
Yay.
And yeah, it's been really interesting watching you grow and evolve and continue your path from the inside out. So, Kyle,
Thank you
introduce
for
yourself
having me.
to.
So exciting. Yeah, great to be here. And you also became one of the assistant teachers on a couple of trainings as well.
I did. I
Yeah,
did.
thank you for doing that.
That moment for me, I at that point, so when I started in Angel Team, I was very much at the beginning of my spiritual, not my spiritual journey, but of my business of taking it out there
Right,
and
because I
bringing.
think you'd already had quite a lot of psychic experience when you came in, didn't you?
I had, yes.
Yeah,
And it was you actually that said to me, I was in mediumship circle at the time,
I
and it was
remember.
during that reading that I had with you. You said to me, "Why are you doing mediumship? Like your energy sits more with the angelics and the star beings and this kind of higher echelons, or however you called it." Um, and I quit my circles shortly after
Oh, you
that and
did?
stopped doing mediumship.
Oh wow. I mean, mediumship has its place. It
Mhm.
it absolutely does, and there's amazing mediums out there, but I feel like sometimes the mediumship kind of holds people back because there's a lot of people just in that kind of grief state.
Yeah,
And I remember feeling that you were more not about that. I think you were more about helping people evolve. So I think like mediums have their place and they can help people really shift out of grief and heal.
yeah.
But then there's also the step that comes after that, and that's where I was kind of envisioning your work when I was speaking to you.
Well, isn't that interesting then that the
Mhm.
Mystic in Training, first of all, the book, and now this podcast has come up. And for me, that's really what this in training thing's about, this
And I
continuous
stole that
growth.
from you in my newsletter, didn't
Yes.
I?
So those that don't know, what prompted this conversation was Kyle put an email out a few weeks ago, calling himself a mystic in training, and I was like,
Right.
I love this because people, I think, look at you, Kyle, and you've got a number of books, you've entered the bestseller list. I saw you on Good Morning Television. That was
Right.
brilliant, by the way. Your decks are, as I said, in my opinion, like some of the best decks in that I've certainly come across. And I think they look at you and think, oh, Kyle, well, you've made it and you've got to where.
Right.
But actually, for you, what I've continually witnessed is this need and this desire to grow and to evolve and to change and to see yourself really as somebody that's still learning and growing.
Yep.
I'd love for you to talk on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just it. I've just always been one of those, I kind of describe myself like a sponge. I just constantly love to learn and learn new things and adapt and change with the times. I think that's a really important part of my work. And also, if anything, just get even more and more simple. I think
Mm,
at certain points of my journey, I would say that I get kind of swept into that place of trying to make things more spiritual and complicated, and then it kind of dawned on me. It was actually a conversation with another great medium, Colette Baron Reed. It was she and I were just having a conversation on Zoom one morning. We were both in our like pajamas, and because she always gets up at like 5 a.m. and and so it's always like 10 a.m. and I'm still in my pajamas when she's in hers. And I remember just like trying to figure out how I was going to like keep people growing and keep people um ascending and learning. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're trying to hold on to people. You need to let them go."
yeah, yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, that's what it is." And then it just over the course of the next few months that followed, I realized that my job was just to get people started, and then what they did from there, or restarted,
hmm,
then what they did from there was up to them. And so over the last few years of my life, I've really simplified a lot of my teachings and made it really like basic level, entry level. And I actually think that's where I'm supposed to be. I actually will just stay there like an anchor.
okay,
But at the same time, for me, that's also been my journey of like constantly going back to the start and learning new information or rediscovering stuff from a different angle, and just constantly being in that learning space. But I think it was Louise Hay was speaking about every year she always learns something new, and it was all about helping her brain and all that kind of stuff. And I remember when I first started to do, to be honest, well financially, and I could
yeah,
afford to be able to go on like pretty good courses every year without fail since I've been financially stable. I've always done a different big dive.
okay,
And it's not just like, like a little weekend. I've always signed up for like the 24 weekenders, or I've always done that. And it's always just helped my mind stay in beginner.
mm,
So I'm like, whatever I learn, I'll apply it into what I'm teaching. And it might not be the same subject, but it'll just keep me in that beginner's mindset. And I like staying there.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I too am one that will just go and learn and continue to learn.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah. I completed my psychotherapy, my spiritual psychotherapy diploma recently.
Oh,
Because I'm
congrats.
like, there's so much to learn, and everything is actually quite simple.
Mm,
Everything is actually, I'm not sure basic's the right word, but we've got to start somewhere. And I love that idea of having that beginner's mind, of having that kind of wonder of, well, what's possible. And for me, that moves into this feeling of being in training and like actually never getting there, not in an eternal seeker kind of way. I think we've all been,
mm,
haven't we? But in this like, and and what else?
right.
Mm,
Yeah, it's a real strange feeling to think that where we're going is where we already are, and it's just more of
mm,
like the uncovering.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, that's been the thing I've leaned into the whole time. It's just like I know the final goal is to merge with light once more, but at the same time, I'm already there. It's already here,
yeah.
and yeah, and expanding to that.
So as somebody who I've witnessed has devoted their life to the angelics and this way of light, I should say.
Mm.
How do you choose what your 24 weeks are going to be dedicated to for next year? Like what, talk us
I
about that
know.
process.
Well, well, now I've just like, I'm doing a big deep dive, but it's mostly always been yogic kind of style trainings the last few years. I think for 10 years at least, I was just constantly on different yoga trainings and learning about the anatomy of the spirit and everything from the kind of the Eastern perspective. That was all like real amazing learning for me, and it kind of just helped me get good with my body. Like that was the main
Mm.
thing, because the spiritual and the mental have always been easy for me, but the body has always been my biggest challenge. It's like
Same.
I'm sure you know, but like, every mystic in time gone by, doesn't matter what tradition they're from, they all have some sort of wounding and darkness, something that keeps them distant from God. And mine has always been my body. And so my um my healing, that part of my journey, has been supported so much by practicing yoga and different things along those ways. So yeah, that's why I've always kind of delved into to all of that. And then last year, after my mum passed away, and I had this kind of like direct experience of Mother Mary, and had this like one-on-one encounter, I felt so called to go back and like relearn um Christianity and
Mhm.
like go into that place. And so I signed up this year to do a degree in biblical studies, which was like
Wow.
such a big it's like a big thing. It's huge. And I was so concerned that I was going to go into this space and kind of just be at war the whole time. But it's not been the way I thought it was going to be at all. It's actually been so academic, and it's all been about like really like taking texts and getting to the depth of them
Mm.
and really seeing,
Yeah.
that there is not much that sets apart the original teachings to what a lot of us, kind of modern spiritual thinkers are thinking today. So that's been a
Yeah.
really exciting journey. And yeah, I always tend to research a lot, do a lot of research on who's going to be leading it, who's going to be teaching it, what their, I know this is terrible, but I often look at like if they've posted anything that's extreme or political
Sure.
or all that stuff. And then if all of that feels good, then I'll usually sign up.
Love that.
But so far, been great. Everyone
Yeah.
I've learned from have been incredible.
Someone said to me once, Melissa, you've got a really good gift of picking good teachers.
Right.
And I agree with that.
Hey, yeah, it's an important thing
Yeah.
to do your research and figure out, because you don't want to go into a space and feel unsafe.
That's the point, especially if you're doing this, if you're coming from this beginner's mind, if you're coming from this space of I'm open, and
Mm,
you have your beliefs and you've built up a lot, and a lot of what you've stood for has, I've certainly witnessed this, helped hundreds, thousands of
mm,
people develop their relationship. And it can be quite risky to go in and say, you know what, I'm studying Christianity now, because how people will feel, who, like, for me, my journey with the angelics, I think, was similar to how you started, in that I was like, well, it's a Christian concept, and
hmm.
I was brought up Jewish,
I
and
know.
yeah, and it's not, there was a misalignment there. And when I heard you speak for the first time, I think it was on Hay House Radio, actually.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, all that time ago, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's something else. Oh my gosh, there's something missing. And I'd had an experience with my Reiki and all of these things. And so it feels for me very brave and very you, actually, to take on this academia and then weave
Right.
it into your teachings.
Yeah, and I don't even know where it's going. But the reason I feel th so called to this is like personal connection. But
Yeah.
I also feel like for someone going into a space like that who thinks like me, then there can be a different kind of conversation that happens. Like,
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to be feminist leaning. I know that I'm going to be like, liberally minded. I'm going to speak out against anyone who's left in the margins. Like
Yeah.
that's why I feel kind of comfortable in that space. But so far, the space that I'm learning from have been very very clean and considerate, which has been really exciting.
I love that.
But I never thought I was going to go to study like like biblical texts and I have a class called Post-Colonial Feminist Voices Within the Bible. I was like, what? But there you go.
So now this is very interesting for me because I've witnessed something in the spiritual space, and I'm sure you've seen this, is that like
Mm,
more and more and more people are opening up to the concept of angels. I know in
right.
your new book you speak a lot about how, so many of us have having these experiences or at least believe in there. I'm seeing through my work more and more people asking about the Akashic records and how to be more intuitive and using
Mhm.
words like vibes, and my kids call everything aura, and I'm like, I got some new
I
shoes for
know.
mum, they're
She's got
aura.
aura.
Yeah. So I officially have aura according to my
Yes.
8-year-olds. So thank you to Kobe. Um, but the question it's brought up for me is like, where's that going? What is it? Is there
Right.
something happening collective that's like, we're calling on the people? Talk to me on that.
I mean, I think it's always been there. I think with the age of social media, everything is widespread faster than ever. And I think that people learn about stuff so much quicker than they would have before. And I think that has had some sort of collective boom. I noticed the trace of when it all really kicked off, and it was COVID. It was the
Yeah.
COVID years. That's
Yeah.
when I don't know, I don't know about you, but like my business like times itself by five.
Jeez.
Like everything was just like, oh my goodness, there's just so many people. Like I remember on the during the COVID years, living in my apartment in Glasgow, 2019, I think. Yeah, it was or 2020. I can't remember when it all started, but it was around that time. I remember hosting a free live online angel training and 11,000 people came live.
Mhm.
And I had to like pay like one of those crazy Zoom licenses or like
Yeah.
$40,000 or whatever
Yeah.
to be able to host that many people on a live call. And I then said, raise your hand if you believe in angels, and everyone raised their hands,
Oh.
and my laptop died because it couldn't cope with that many people,
Wow.
you know. So I was like, oops, I will never ask that many people to raise their hand ever again in my life. So when that started happening, I was like, something is really happening.
Hmm.
But the truth is, the actual statistics around angels hasn't really changed in the last 25 years.
Hmm.
It's generally in the UK, 1 in 3 people believing in angels. In the US, it's 2 in 3 people who believe in angels, and that's despite religious or spiritual differences. So
Hmm.
it doesn't matter where you've come from or what belief system you have, the statistics is actually staying the same. I
Hmm.
think what has shifted and what has changed is the connectivity of the world. We see the world more, and it's more available to us, and we can learn about different parts of the world much quicker. But the numbers are around the same when I was doing the research for Angels Are With You Now.
Yeah.
But with the connectivity, it gives people like us the opportunity to harness it and actually start conversations. But the one thing I will say is I think because of it, the the availability of conversations and the willingness to have them in a more open space has broadened. So like, when I first was invited on This Morning in the UK in 2012, when my first book came out, and then got to go back on in 2024 12 years difference.
Hmm.
The first time I went on, the whole conversation was a good cop and a bad cop. So you're briefed before you go on the sofa that Holly's going to be the good cop and Phil's going to be the bad cop, and he's going to challenge absolutely everything that I share.
Yeah.
Whereas this time when I went on, and I, had obviously different presenters, but I had this opportunity to meet them from a different place where Ben and Kat, who interviewed me, both were on my side.
Yeah.
They were completely open to the conversation. Then when we go off camera, they both share personal stories from their families. So it's just like that is so cool, the shift in
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
and the willingness to have a conversation. And I think what has shifted is we don't have to be so cloak and dagger about our spirituality these days.
Yeah.
There's actually a willingness to have a conversation, and that is really exciting.
That is really exciting. And
Really exciting.
I I I want to give you credit here because like I said, like for me, when I first started looking at the angels, there was a core teaching maybe about it, that there were these like cherubs that with their bums
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah.
flying along, and
Not
it
wrong.
didn't yeah, it just didn't feel real to me,
Yeah.
and the conversations that you had, and I see the bravery that you're super young, you still are, but you were super young then, right? And
Nearly
you
40.
Mhm. It gets better. You were super young then. Like I see the boldness and I see the bravery. And as somebody, I'm just releasing a new healing modality. I'm speaking about the Akashic records in a very different way than I've seen through tradition. And I do want to say that you stepping forward has certainly inspired me to give myself permission to do that. Um, but yeah, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that step forward that you take, because that can't have been easy when you've got
Right.
this industry behind you. Like, no, that's not how we're speaking about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is I'm really open about this, and angels are with you now. But when I came into the kind of publishing arena, there was a couple of main speakers on angels, and I had a difference of opinion to them. And the main kind of leader in that space was Doreen Virtue, as you'll probably know. And
Yeah.
and and I will say that to the Doreen Virtue of old, I am very grateful because I think she opens up a lot of doorways for many people to have conversations about angels.
For sure.
And, like her original angel card deck changed publishing. It changed publishing. It
Yeah.
sold so many copies, like it's unbelievable. I don't know what the number is, but rumor has it she sold like 1 billion products. Like that's what I heard.
Wow.
So something, big.
Mm,
I know I've sold over 1 million Oracle decks. So, you just
wow.
bring that
Mhm.
into perspective. And she'd a longer reaching, more explosive career than me. So, but I had a difference of opinion. And so I actually was encouraged to kind of stay in the same light. And I couldn't change too much
Mhm.
because that would actually work against me on my trajectory of trying to become more well known and more well established. And at that time, the way to actually make it in the publishing, speaking world sounds quite dark when you think of it this way. It was
Yeah.
actually to make it in America.
Okay.
So you had to and you'll probably see when you watch videos of me, like I had to go on media training and learn how to speak to an American dialect. I had to change words. Like I did all of that as well.
Mhm.
Um, so that's what I did. And eventually, when my own voice had I don't know, weight,
Yeah.
then I was able to kind of lean people into a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
And that actually wasn't that long. It was with Angel Prayers, my second book.
Yeah.
I was able to really fire into the thank you mindset, the
Yeah.
gratitude, and instead of asking angels for help, you can thank them, and you
Yeah.
might see a bigger difference. And that's what that kind of started to kind of make me stand out against everyone else. But I think it took till when I was writing Angels Are With You Now to really get my ideas across. And
Yeah.
I think the main thing that I wanted to do with that book was I wanted to remove the whole idea that you had to be special or gifted to access angels. I needed everyone to know that they had an angel and that they could speak to them directly. You didn't need anyone in between you and them. You could go direct, and you're already hooked up the way you need to. It
Mhm.
was like reverse marketing essentially, because
Yeah.
I've made all these decks and all these courses, but I've always said, you don't need me. This isn't magic. You've got it all. Like that's really what I wanted to say. But I also needed to do it in a way where if you'd never been to one of my classes or one of my courses or any of, our kind of field, you could pick up that book and learn the basics and get started,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, how did I get brave? I think I have always just had it in me just to like push against the grain. And the truth is, it was much harder 12 years ago than it was today.
Yeah.
Like the first time I went on this morning in 2012, Twitter was a thing and people had like told me to kill myself and
Wow.
like, hang yourself out and
Yeah.
all these different weird things. And charlatan is the kind of like word that was thrown around a lot. Um, in fact, someone called me that the other day and I was like, whoa, I haven't heard that for a long time.
So how did it land differently this time to 12 years ago?
Well, back then, I think I had something to prove and I was trying to do it.
Mhm.
Now, I'm in that place where, well, I feel like I hope that my work can speak for itself. And I think to consider that I started writing for the Scottish Sun newspaper when I was 19 years old and I'm 37.
Mhm.
So, like, to be in the media that long
Mhm.
and not have any concerns about what you do or what you say out there speaks for itself.
It sounds to me like there's a natural tendency, but there's a muscle that you need to build with that. And I
Yeah,
know from people who are maybe starting out more, they want to become the psychic mediums or the writers or the mystics,
yeah,
that it's a real fear and it's a real thing like, oh my God, like the witch wound, what are people going to think of me? I'm going to get
right.
persecuted. What would you
You
say?
do.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you and say you don't. You do. It
Yeah.
happens a lot. And the biggest challenge with it all is usually you're persecuted by people who believe in what you believe.
Yeah.
That is usually where it comes from first. It's usually like the other medium psychics that you've sat in circle with or known from your area or whatever. Usually those are the ones that come after you first.
I've had first-hand experience of that. When
No,
I,
it's a
yeah.
thing.
And it's not
I
easy, right? It's hard to go through.
Right. It is, and I went through it too, and my mother used to get really upset about it, and I would always be like, no, 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 just let them stay there.
Yeah.
Let them just do that. I'm gonna just like whoever comes to me will come to me.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was speaking at an event and I was on a booth with another medium, and she'd made all these amazing like gifts and things to give out to people, and she was giving out magnets and all. It was like really bougie,
Nice.
and I just had plain white business cards that said Kyle Gray with my phone number on it.
Mhm.
And my mum was like, "Oh my God, you are so unorganized. You're so unprepared." And she was giving everything all out, and I was just standing still. And my mum was like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Like you paid all this money to be here and to get yourself out. there. And I'm like, I'm totally not concerned about this. Like, I feel like whoever needs to come to me will come to me.
Yeah.
And then we met up like a couple of weeks later, and she's like, "Did you get any bookings after that event?" And I was like, "Yeah, did you?" And she went, "No."
Wow.
And I had actually booked 9 months out of
Wow.
clients. Like, it was
Mm.
just like, and I always feel like as soon as you start to fight against that tension that's created from other people, that's usually when you don't start going. You just have to let them be loud
Yeah. Yeah.
and just keep on going.
Yeah.
That's what
I,
I've done anyway.
I suppose it's how you handle yourself. And I think people are looking at that. They're looking to see whether or not, how you'll take it, how you'll act, how you'll respond. And for me, what I've learned is that, I have different aspects of me, and sometimes my brain tells me things that aren't very nice. And it wants to believe the hate or the doubt or all of that.
Right,
And it for me has been a real journey of understanding that my soul, and that's what I connect to, my soul or my higher self actually has more wisdom than the brain that I value very much. And so I think we've all had that like tension that sits between what I think to be true, or what I think I should do, or should I be getting magnets, and should I be doing all of this, and that's
right,
because that's how it is, versus this other
right.
connection. How do you play with that?
I I don't really. I just never worry about. I just. I don't know. Maybe I've been trained to do this because I think I'm constantly put against some of my colleagues, like, and we're pit against each other. Who can get the
Yeah,
bestseller? Who can do this? Who can do that? And I've always just been like, I'm going to cheerlead for everyone,
yeah.
and that's what I've always done.
Hmm.
And and it always feels much better to me. Just to like cheerlead. Even when we were away 2 weekends ago, that's why I've got this cold, because we went clay pigeon shooting and we got absolutely soaked. And I was like wooing for everyone, and they were all worried about who's going to get the most targets and who was going to win. And every time someone hit, I was like, it's like, and it was just a natural inclination.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You've just cheered us all on and you've lost." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care."
Hmm.
And that's the way I am about life. I'm like, because it's for me, this isn't about winning.
Right. What is it about?
For me, I lean into if I can get a fire started in someone, I've done my work. That's it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Everything else will take care of itself. I used to get worried about the money thing.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest mentors, Robert Holden, said to me, "This isn't your money anyway, it's God's." And I've
Mm.
said it every day ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. I've just always been like, yeah, I'm just borrowing this while I'm here,
Mm.
you know.
And what I love about that, and I've been working with Robert for the last year as
Oh,
well.
have you?
Yeah, so I love that synchronicity. Yeah,
Or
he's
you actually like seeing him on a one-on-one?
I'm in his mastermind.
Oh, you are. So
Yeah.
cool. I meet him every week and we have a mystic hour together.
Oh, we'll say hello. I
He's one
want
of
a
my
Mystic
people.
Hour every week. My podcast is the Mystic Hour every week. And he's incredible for me, this blend of psychology and mysticism and all of the things.
Mm,
And what I'm hearing from that and from that conversation is the money's not yours anyway, but it's coming through you. It's coming
mm,
through you. And my belief is that it's gonna come through the more you are.
mm.
Me, that's what being a mystic can training is. It's like, how much more me can I be? Not because I'm not me now, but just
Right.
because there's more of me
Mm-hmm.
coming through.
Mm. Yeah, it's an emptying of the self you think you are,
Mm,
and accepting of the self that God made you as.
mm. Just let
That
that
that's
land.
it definitely is. I was really struck because I think you probably attract people into your space that are wanting to be professional healers,
Mhm,
guides.
mhm,
And I want to say this, and I don't know why, but when we were talking about it earlier, I think there seems to be if you're going to make it, you have to like be a celebrity psychic or whatever, and it's just fake news, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am not joking. It is not it. You don't want it. I actually think the best people to work with are like everyday people.
Yeah.
They are the people that you are going to have the best time with and the
Yeah.
people you can help and support the most. And I always say to people, if you really want to make it as a guide, just start your own group. Just
Yeah.
start your own group. If it's in your living room, your garage, if it's garage, as we say
Garage. Yeah.
in the garage, or whatever, just like, or your local church hall or your local yoga studio, just get people together and speak about it, and everything else will take care of itself. That's how I started, and it's how I start everything. Like the I started a Mother Mary like
I've
circle,
seen.
and we do it every month. There's 2,211 members already. I'm only on month three.
Mhm.
That's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
But all I just want to do is get together and speak about Mary.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel
Yeah.
like just being willing to have the conversation
Yeah.
and like getting people in a space, everything else will take care of itself.
I believe that.
I really do.
Yeah. We see it all of the time, and it comes back to, for me, this knowing yourself. Like for me, that's our purpose. The purpose for me of life is know yourself.
Mm,
Know what is the self that you think is the self. Know what is the true big S self, if you like.
mm,
What's being called of you, what's being asked. And for my journey, it's been having to find that bravery or find that courage to actually say the thing that wants to come out and wants to come through, because it's rarely comfortable. It's rarely
mm-hmm,
like, oh, I'm just going to do this on here. And part of that has been, for example, starting this podcast, for example, starting my membership Soul Space, for example, bringing my new training that's releasing next year. And it comes back to what is being asked of me and which aspect of me am I listening to.
mm-hmm,
It sounds to me like you're fine tuning. Maybe this comes from your story as a child, when you were paralyzed, right? When you were like
mm.
3, 4. Maybe it's come from that and the cultivation that's happened for you. But you always strike me as someone who just you just kind of trust it.
Yeah, I think I do. I do.
Good for you.
I don't know why. Maybe it's part of my Enneagram thing. I'm a seven on the Enneagram, the
Okay.
enthusiast. So I'm just like, if I do it, I'm all in.
Okay.
I'm just like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. What's your number? Do you know?
5.
You're a five.
I'm a 5. I
Investigate.
want to know everything about
Are you a
everything.
5'4", 5'6"?
I think more 5'4", but
5'4".
I'm yeah. Yeah. I'm a 5. I wonder what your human design is, Kyle. Do you know
I'm
numbers?
a generator.
Do you know your
So,
numbers?
no.
I'm asking this like I know so much about human design, which I don't. But I'm a 5'1", which is the
I feel like I
heretic
have the
in
number.
have a look. It's the heretic investigator. And when I discovered this about me, it was again this know myself, like, oh, that's why I want to know everything about everything. And then not like automatically disagree, but certainly have my own opinions about what that means to me. And for me, this feels like it's part of my destiny to bring through
That's
things in a
nice.
different way.
I don't know my human design. I think I'm a generator, but that's all I know. When I searched it, I just have like a million newsletters coming up, so I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah, don't do that. You can let me know. I wouldn't be surprised if you have the heretic line in you.
Sorry if you can hear dogs barking.
We cannot see
Oh,
Zoom.
good. I
Brilliant.
think the postman's here.
Yeah, I love this conversation, and it's very interesting for me to from the outside in, it I witness you as having this courage and having this bravery and having this ability to be able to really stand in your truth,
Mm-hmm.
and that sometimes that truth changes, right? Like it sometimes diverts. So like what happens there, especially when you've created such impact at this
Mm-hmm.
point with a truth,
Mm-hmm.
as things start, or as the truth gets bigger, maybe,
Right.
like
Yeah,
how's that?
definitely.
path for you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm always willing to finish things.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I'm bringing this to a close now. I've done what I needed to do and
Yeah,
I'm closing it. But a lot of people think that's crazy.
yeah.
I think like if you were to see how many people went through our like crystal training and I've never launched it again and you were like, "What? You're nuts. Why are you not launching?" I'm like, "I think I've done what I needed to do." You
Mm,
know, like I'm just always willing to close things down and simplify more.
hmm.
Um and that's risky.
It is risky.
Yes, financially it's risky, but
Yeah.
for my heart it feels good. Because
Mhm.
my thing is not about selling out. I've never really wanted to do it. Like this is the first time in my life I don't have a book deal. In my 20 since I was 23.
Mhm.
And I'm writing a book, but I'm not sure I want to sell it. That's
I love
risky.
that. No,
You know
see,
what I
I
mean?
love that.
So I feel like I feel like spirituality is about willing to risk it all.
Mm,
And I think if you look at the mystics gone past, you know, the ones that I'm really into Saint Ignatius. Like right now, I'm doing a lot of Ignatian stuff, and like they risked everything, constantly, like put themselves out on the line to be persecuted, you know.
mhm.
Um, and I think that, um, I mean, you told me you were brought up Jewish, like, you know, it's going to be a core wounding to feel scared when you have that as your heritage.
Yeah,
Like, but you also owe it to your ancestors to like fully live and
right.
like step into the big you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's huge.
Absolutely. It is huge. And through my discovery, especially I think through my work in the Akashic Records, like I've realized that those woundings and those core, those things that really scare you the most tend to be the biggest invitations.
Well, fully.
Yeah. But it's not easy to find, to follow them, is it always?
Hmm. Um, yeah. I've got my word for the year is desolation. That's my word. So
That's
like
a good word.
the feeling of God at a distance.
Hmm.
Like I can't you know, like and I think so many of us are in that place of, oh, spirituality is all about ascending, ascending, ascending. I think we have to descend. We have to have a descent before we ascend.
Yeah.
And in the Kabbalah, they've got this hidden sphere. I don't know if you know about it, but
Yeah.
the top three, and then underneath them, there's that hidden sphere Dath, which is called the abyss.
Yeah.
And it's just underneath Kether, which is God, like Almighty.
Yeah.
And in order to get to God, you have to descend first. So whenever were in this place of like, oh my God, I need to risk it all. I need like this is too risky. This is too fearful. It's actually you're on the verge of the miracle. You're
Yeah.
right there. Like when God feels so distant, God is right there. God, love, truth, universe, whatever you want to call it, spirits, self with a big S. You know, like whenever you feel that descent happening, it's because you're about to go up.
Yeah. And in hindsight, that's always true. It's
Always,
just
but it's shite when you're in
it's like holding the
it.
bar. Someone's coming to help me in a minute.
To
We'll
be
be
fully
all right.
Scottish, it's shite when you're in it.
And I think that for me is the spiritual path, right? Is like
Right,
knowing you're not doing it alone, knowing that there's always something there supporting you, and knowing that if this truth, if this feeling, if this pull is coming through you, and it is for the help of yourself, it's for the help of other people, and somehow it's going to create these ripples in the world, then who are you not to take it?
right. It's your desert moment. Christ went to the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and he was left there with nothing. And that's what we go through spiritually. That's actually just metaphorical. You know, like we go into the desert of life and everything feels dry and untidy and doesn't seem to have any roots of growth. But in fact, that's your preparation. You're being stripped away and brought back to your true self
Mm,
rather than the self you think you are.
yeah, that created self that we love so much.
Right.
Can you, just the last question, can you take me back to a moment where you felt that like stripped back and like, oh, am I ever going to get through this?
I mean, I feel like I have big feelings, because Yeah. I I think this year has been that for me. Um, because even though things are good and successful, I think I've definitely been in that. I don't want to say I'm searching, but I feel like I'm in the desert in a way. Like I genuinely don't know what happens next.
Hmm.
Like I look at like my company and Angels now and all that. It feels great. Everything's great. We've got an amazing group and
Very
I have a
good.
team of people who run it. So I can just create the content and have a great time. But like there's a part of me is like I don't genuinely know where my life or my career is going. I know for a fact that I'm not so sure I want to keep publishing.
Hmm.
So like
Wow.
that feels weird,
Mm.
you know, considering I've had like 21 publishing deals in the last 12 years, it's a lot of that's basically a thing a year.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, so I think I'm kind of in the desert right now.
Mm.
And I think also just the experience of losing my mother, who was my person in life, and all the ups and downs that come with that has been very very weird. I don't know I don't know how I did what I did previously, and I also feel like if my mum didn't make that final jump that she made, then I don't think I'd be able to be who I am either. So
Mm.
that, there's like a weird thing of like, I of course wouldn't wish her away, but I'm also glad that she's gone. And it's
Mm.
a weird place to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm there. I'm doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of internal family systems and
Mm.
uh, I've just created so much space. And this year I've literally been on 8 pilgrimages. So going on one this weekend.
Oh, where are you going?
Knock.
Oh,
There was a vision of the Virgin Mary there in 1879, and I think it was 15 people that saw it at once. So
wow.
yeah,
So who knows? And I think
who
there's this
knows?
who knows what's
We
going to
don't need
happen.
to. We don't
Well,
need to know.
and they didn't know that that was going to happen when it happened,
I
right?
know. Like,
And it's this faith, it's this following the step. It's going, I don't know, and actually, my human really wants to know, but I don't need to know.
yeah.
And if I, how do I keep on following that? How do I keep on with that faith and that trust and that knowing that the angels have got me,
But
knowing
I
that the
might I
angels are
must
with
call
me.
myself out here because it's
Mhm.
so much easier to say this as me with like money in the bank, a roof over my head, a
Cool.
career that's been successful. It's very privileged, and I'm handing my hands up. It's like, yeah, it's so much easier because I know if I was a single mother with 3 children, I don't know how to make ends meet. It's not as easy to be faithful as it is to. So
I hear that. And I meet that with also that when you, I think when you've built up a level of success and you've had so many people who have been inspired by you and you've created this big impact. And, I even speak personally, you think how many people I've touched, and it's
right.
the ripple that you've dropped has rippled out even further through me, right?
Mm.
And through how many ever many hundreds of
High
people
five. That's great.
that I think that gives another sense of responsibility of, well,
Uh,
now who do I owe it to?
mm. Who knows?
Who knows?
I genuinely don't know. It's pretty exciting though.
It is exciting, and it leans back into having that faith and having that gratitude of, the path that you've taken and the opportunities that, like Louise Hay gave you back when you were a
No,
teenager.
taking me on tour when I was
Yeah.
24. What's that all
Yeah.
about?
She saw something in you.
Yeah, I think
She
so.
followed her inner ding.
She did.
Yeah. And I say to you that I recognize that you gave me an opportunity 5 years ago when you invited me to come and help in and to teach in Angel Team. And I see that and how that was an up level for me as well. And that was the catalyst of starting my membership and
Well
plenty of other
done.
things that have happened from there.
Well done, you. I'm
Thank you.
glad
So
to see you shine.
full round circle. No, this is, I've really got a real last question, and I'm going to
Yeah.
be asking all of my guests who are going to be on the Mystics in Conversation.
Yeah.
Kyle,
Mhm.
what does it mean for you to be a mystic in training?
A mystic in training is, for me, is someone who is willing to do the work that comes with learning and really just someone who is emptying themselves of who they think they are, like I said before, and making space for the person that who the divine needs them to be.
Mm, I love that.
Yeah.
If my mic wasn't on its stand, I would drop it.
Hey,
Thank you so much
thank you for having me.
for being here and for connecting. If anyone wants to reach out to Kyle, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, just Kyle Gray UK on Instagram. And Angels Are With You Now is out now. Sunday Times bestseller, #2.
Angels Are With You Now is an incredible book. It's available everywhere. I'll drop it in the notes here. I also want to give a shout out to the hundreds of decks that I have. Like literally, they
Oh,
never leave my side. We had Archangel Gabriel,
oh
uh,
yeah.
from like your OG. You've got like from
The OG. They're out of print now.
oh,
So cool.
I've actually only got the Archangels now because they've been ones that I've given
I
to.
know, I'm so guilty. I've got so many unfinished decks that I from.
Yeah, incredible decks. And Kyle, this has been a pleasure for me, and it's been amazing to connect. And to all of my listeners, thank you for listening to this very special episode of the Mystic in Training podcast. We'll see you next week.